Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Smoke and Mirrors presented by the Sports Hit List. In our new time slot, it's been a week of just refreshing and new starts for us. So 4 to 5, the new window. I hope you guys are enjoying it, having a good day so far. I'm your host, Stefan Polius, alongside Declan Krogman, who is back. All right, you get to see the face again, and Greg Polius. And with that, Deck, I want to know, how are you been, bro? Good to see you. I see a little bed situation going on there. You're in the dorm. How's
Yeah,
that been?
pretty much. Yeah, guys, super happy to be back. I missed being on Smoke and Mirrors. This show feels like my baby because I get to do it with, two people who I love and respect very much. Congratulations on your championship. It took a
Yes.
month,
Month and
and we
change.
know if it wasn't for rain, it would have taken 3 games, maybe two. So happy to be back. Football season's in full swing. We got a great time slot Monday night. We get to review the Sunday games and get into the games
Yes, sir.
on the Monday night game, excuse me. And then we get to recap the Thursday night game today and preview the weekend. Excuse me, my bad. Hit the button by whoa.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
new
rusty.
setup, huh? Yeah, a little rusty new setup. You're figuring it out.
Yeah, definitely figuring it out. It took longer than normal. All messed up
Yeah.
today, but hey, we got baseball playoffs coming up too. It's going to be a great month. I'm looking forward to it. Happy to be back with you guys as always.
Definitely. It's good to have you back. Greg, how are you doing, sir? Well, I should say, Declan brought it up. So, fellow champion, how are you doing?
It was a long time coming, bro. It feels great.
Definitely was.
You know, some lasting memories from that celebration.
Yeah. Champagne
Um,
showers, bro.
I feel like this is how I would have felt if CP3 won a chip. Is how I feel about how they're just so loved, and it's deserving, I would say.
Yeah.
At this point.
I just want to say shout out to the New York Athletics. Our team. We battled all year. We had more highs than lows. I'll say that, but we had our set of our share of lows. And this championship series, like Deck said, took a month plus. It feels like, and we battled every game. It came down to the third game, and we left our hearts on the field. And because of that, we got to celebrate on that same field. So I'm gonna shout out those guys. Really appreciate y'all. It was a hell of a ride. One I'll never forget.
And shout out to the guy that called me after you guys won. I mean, I don't.
What are you
did he
talking about?
think?
What happened?
I don't. I got a phone call that said A's Nation. Like, what did he think? I got a ring with him for a scrimmage game at Juniper in March. Congrats, guys! Seriously, that season has been what, 6 months long now.
Yeah, right. Half a
Definitely,
year.
definitely went into overtime.
Yes,
to get rewarded as such.
for sure.
Some
So
compensation.
we're happy. We won. Happy to have you back, Deck. With having you back. I mean, you've been gone for quite a few episodes. There's been a lot that's been said. So I want to give you an opportunity now. I mean, I don't know if you were listening or if you heard through the grapevine. Well,
it's the best show. It's the best show in the tri-state. So why would I not listen?
Either way, though, I want to give you the stage to air out some grievances or just speak to it, because there was definitely a lot said. Yours truly, Greg Polius, your favorite antagonist, I guess, in your life.
Emphasis on favorite. Emphasis on favorite.
But yeah,
he doesn't have much
take
competition. I guess like maybe Paul Akezi is number 3 or number 2. But
I mean, maybe potentially, but I want to give you this time to speak to it. So we had some Yankee talk that definitely took place. As far as, and this is the thing for everyone at home, Declan has been very active in the group chat. I know we said it a few times. So even though he wasn't on screen, the hit list streets were ablaze. So you have your Yankee take. At one point, you thought the Yankees were going to win the division. You still felt very confident in them. After that 8-game skid that they capped off by winning on a Saturday against the Mets, you were still very confident in your Yankees. So I want you to be able to speak to that, because Greg had some choice words for you. And also your quote about the Mets being the biggest joke of an organization in New York. And it might have been all of baseball. I wasn't sure the exact
Yeah.
quote.
It was really just the way they run the organization.
Yeah. But those are the two in particular that I'm going to give you a chance to respond to Greg and to all your haters.
Yeah. All my haters. What is this? So thank you. Obviously, like I said, maybe a million times, happy to be back. But as far as the baseball stuff goes, the Yankees, I've flip-flopped on them in terms of their division over the past couple months. I remember putting that to bed in July, and then they go on a skid. Played like one of the best teams in baseball when they won 13 games in the American League. They were definitely one of the best.
I'm sorry. I just want to go back to that. You said you put it to bed. You didn't have them winning the division after that win streak they were on?
So no. This was before. This was around.
I'm talking about the win streak, bro, because you had them winning the division. I think everybody heard you as division winners. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just want to make sure we have that.
So totally. So pretty much what happened was I flip-flopped on them kind of all year as to whether the division was open. I had put the division to bed when it was like 8.5 games in late July. Then obviously they go on their run that was historic. I think their best run since 1985 in the regular season, of course. So right then, then and there, I think they got the lead to like 3 games in the division. So, the Rays have been injured, battered, and I assumed maybe my team could go on a run here.
You weren't high on the Rays. You were not afraid of the Rays, is how you spoke about that.
Here's my thing, and to answer your question, Justin, yes, I am under a bunk bed.
Dorm life, baby. Yeah, dorm life.
Yes. Anyway, I'll get it all straight. Going back to what we were saying about the Yankees. They did not go on the run. Bullpen fell apart. Injuries. Glaber's been bad in the field. Gallo's been terrible hitting. Rizzo cooled off. The only guy that's been really consistent and has really been performing is Judge, and Stanton's been good as well. With the DJ's been getting better, hitting some home runs, which we didn't see in the first.
Just not the DJ that you paid for.
Totally, hitting more home runs really recently than we've seen so far. But he really hasn't even been the guy that he should be. But I think he got up to 10 home runs. I love the facial expression. I miss that facial expression so much. It's not even funny. But even still, he's hitting like 270. So nothing to write home about with DJ there. Joe's really the only guy consistently. I would say he's top 5 in the MVP race. No chance of getting it. Thank you, Chuck. You did a great job filling it, obviously.
This comment section is amazing right now.
Steph, screw you. He hashtag bring back Chuck, and you loved it. Greg, you guys. I take it back. I'm leaving. What do you guys want? This guy to be negative about the teams he likes all the time? I mean, it makes me want to just my brain.
So we're gonna get into the Giants in a bit.
Yeah.
But this is the problem that Yankee/Giant fans have. You guys are just insufferable homers.
I wouldn't. Okay, there's a lot of Giants fans that have been very, very, very fed up.
The majority fed up, but there are still a lot of Giant fans who are still like big time homers,
right?
And then
like Sean Kiernan and myself, essentially.
Yeah, but you're like on another tier though.
I'm gonna
Sean's like here, and you're like here.
Sean is just respected and loves his team, respectable. But the only guy that has the Knicks going to the playoffs.
Just because you call out your team for being bad in certain areas doesn't mean you hate your team. It's okay to call them out.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It is.
Well, I mean, when
have their honest take.
Yes, when your team folds and your first reaction is "I told you so." I mean, if I was that's just different to me. But I agree. Chuck's takes on the Yankees are pretty accurate. Manny as well. Right now, yes, totally. Right now, this team is just not as good as the Blue Jays at the moment. Hopefully that'll change and they'll go on a run. They're very streaky and inconsistent. And I think that's the big thing with the Yankees is they're inconsistent. One day their offense could be their fire and their spark, and then the next day it's their pitching. There's really no predicting these guys. Cole has been very good. He's in the Cy Young race. Robbie Ray on Toronto has really cemented himself with his tight shirt and tight pants over in Canada now to get in this race.
That walk rate really lowered itself, and it's been a difference maker for him.
Yeah, he's been really good. I mean, he was a guy on Arizona that kind of took a little bit of a back seat when he was pitching good, just because he wasn't getting love on that team, and that team wasn't doing anything special. And his ERA was still nothing to write home about. But now he's on Toronto. It's a great fit for him. Hopefully Steven Matz can try to follow in his footsteps. I know that might sound comical. He's not going to be a Cy Young guy, but hopefully he can get his career rejuvenated there. But going back,
I don't know about you, Steph, but all I'm hearing is I'm setting up the excuses for when the Yankees don't make the playoffs. That's what I'm hearing right now.
Excuses for what?
For the Yankees not making the playoffs, he said.
No, I still think they can make.
That's the next question for you.
Playoffs, but it's going to be a tougher road than it should be. But I do think, as far as talent-wise, this team is capable with that lineup capable right now.
So,
they're just doing consistent together. They got listen. You got a little bit less than a month. What is it? 3 weeks now, 2.5, 3 weeks until October 3rd.
Yeah.
So really, just got to get it.
I do want to give Greg a chance. So it's interesting because Declan brought up the Yankees being streaky, but one thing that I will give Chuck credit for, and Greg yourself bringing up this consistently, and I think everyone else has seen it. Pitching to me is not something that is streaky with the Yankees. It's just not good. You have one stopper and it doesn't seem like there's much else behind it. The bullpen, you might say, is streaky, but your starting pitching to me is questionable, and it has been that before the trade deadline. So I think that when it comes down to it, the pitching for the Yankees is the Achilles heel that will hurt you in any series. And in a one game, if you don't have Cole, it's like, who's next up? So Greg, I want to just give you a chance to have a rebuttal, because I mean, he was speaking to you kind of directly. I don't know if you have anything to say. You look like you were waiting for your moment.
Absolutely.
All right, so all you.
So isn't it nice to talk to someone when they're there, by the way?
the truth of the matter is Dec is actually shaking in his boots, and you can hear it by his timid way in which he's going about how the Yankees are playing right now, because it's a totally different tone that we're hearing now that the Yankees stink. The Yankees are actually playing like dog shit. And it sucks because these are supposed to be World Series contenders, which a lot of us had winning the division, and they've took a giant crap on the fans of the New York Yankees with how they've put the season together. And Dec, it's okay. We're here for you. When this shakes out the way I expect for the Red Sox and the Blue Jays to play for the wild card game, and the Yankees are sitting at home on their couch with the Mets, who will also not make the playoffs.
Yep.
We will be here for you.
Well, in that case, thank you. I mean, I need this, but the one thing I will say is, I could come on here and I could be adamant and I could continue to say, hey, the Yankees are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be great. They're going to put it together. And I'm going to say all these positive things. And then it's like, oh, there's a bias. Why are you looking that way? But now I come and I adjust with the time. Guys, I've been gone like 3 weeks. Very different.
It's a different deck. It's a different team, a different deck. Is that what you're saying?
Totally. Because if I'm looking at that team from 3 weeks ago, that's a completely different team from when I got up here. I got up here, they won a 13-game winning streak. I believe they won game 12 at that point. So to sit here and to just,
Are we seeing the evolution of Declan? Are we seeing it live?
Hold on.
No, it's not even a shake. Like I'm shaking in my boots or anything. It's just it's more or less that I'm adjusting and kind of pivoting, to call it how it is. I mean, this team is not the divisional, division winning team that we all thought they were. They're going to finish in second or third, probably third place, maybe even fourth place. Really.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we're not used to the balance.
But see, Manny says no backtracking, and that's just not doing the job the right way.
Hold on. What I will say. Let me just clear the air, right? So because what I believe now is we're having a Declan that is approaching the facts that are in front of him, and looking at them for what they are instead of trying to read between the lines and find something that's not there. Because in the past, even if the writing on the wall was there, you would find a way to be like, no, that's not true, and that's different. And you could change 3 weeks. You're different college, you're upstate, different air up there. It's affecting you differently. I will say though, when the Yankees were on that losing streak, you were in the hit list baseball chat saying that, they were just the best team in baseball, 2-3 weeks ago. And yes, that was the case. But then when you looked at the roster, like Chuck was saying, like Manny was saying, Greg was saying, I was saying that they're missing the pieces to be the world-beating team that we thought they were. The streak was nice, but was that going to lead to longevity? And we're seeing it play out pretty well right now. So I'm happy that we're seeing this new Declan. The evolution, right?
Oh, hold on. I just want to shout out Declan's mom, because she asked how are the Mets doing, and they stink.
Thank you. Look at this. From 6 hours away, she still has my back. But without any of this passive aggressive garbage about being saved. I mean, what is this? Born again? Like I don't even want to hear any of it. It's so stupid. But
the Mets stink, and until Miguel Rojas is fired for Carlos Beltran, they will continue to stink.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever his name is, he's not in a
the guy on the Arizona
he's not in a Lou, and that's all that matters. He can't carry the name of greatness.
Yeah, and it shows.
So I wanted to get that out of the way. Like, I hope you feel good coming back. You get to speak to everything that's being said, and I'm sure there'll be more that's going to take place, obviously. But I want us to move on to last night's game, the Thursday night football game, because man, was it special.
Yeah.
And Declan, I'm happy we have you back because it was just the perfect game for you to come back after. All right, so we had the Washington football team. Well, I should say the Giants at the Washington football team in Washington, D.C. And Dec, I know you called them to. You had the Giants winning. You brought up several times that Daniel Jones undefeated against the Washington football team, and DJ, to his credit, the first drive came out looking well, right? He ran the design runs. He looked sharp, made the throws he needed to make. The Giants defense looked good. I will say that Gibson did his job, and no, I'm saying like as far as like in those the early on,
early, okay, game, yeah, sure,
because Heineke he looked bad. Not only bad, but like the defense was doing their job. They were stifling.
Yeah, emphasis on very early.
Yeah, it was definitely early, but by comparison to week 1 in that Denver game, early compared to nothing is a lot better.
Showed more signs of life for sure.
Yeah, they weren't on that field against Denver, but yeah, I there were some positives there, but as the game developed, we saw Heineke throwing really well, looking like I mean, he could be a Fitzpatrick. I don't think what he did out there on the field was any different than what you could expect from Fitzpatrick.
I did say this to you when you said Fitzpatrick was locked in. I know Fitzpatrick got hurt.
He was definitely locked in. Locked in.
But I remember Chuck and I were talking about Taylor Heineke on the show maybe about a month or two back. And we said, listen, this guy, I mean, he's not dead. He's going to start some games this year.
We've seen it. We saw that he could ball. He didn't have the track record that Fitzpatrick had. If Fitzpatrick doesn't get injured, I think it doesn't. Heineke's still not starting week 2 or 3 or 4.
Right. I thought he would have just wound up playing. I thought he would have just wound up playing at a certain point, maybe in week 10, if the tide.
Well, I think at week 10, if Fitzpatrick's winning, you're not changing guards.
Well, that's the thing is if he's not winning, but I mean, it's a moot point now.
It is moot. It is very much moot. But we have this point now where the Giants are in the up 1 right now in the fourth quarter. All right, you have the Washington football team driving down the field, and comes down to the field goal, and Hopkins there's a Hopkins.
Dustin Hopkins.
Hopkins. Yeah, Dustin
Hopkins. The Hopkins that I will be trying to trade for very nice wealth in fantasy football.
But he hasn't been consistent necessarily. He was fighting for his job in the preseason, and you had what wasn't a chip shot for the Washington football team, and here it is, the Giants, the one play they need to make to get the victory, they go offside.
Well, I wouldn't even say the Giants as much as just Dexter Lawrence. I mean, that's a reflection of your team. The team lacked discipline.
And it's interesting because Declan, I know you like to make these points where the organizations are clowns or they're a joke. That to me, like, clown hat on and put nose, like the red nose on the Giants, because that was just ridiculous that happened. You have that, and you also have the blow up with DJ and Galladay, which we'll get into too. But I think that play changing the complexion of the game, obviously. And then we also have, which I want to get to you, and Dec, I'll send this to you first, the Slayton drop or bad throw, that's very controversial at this point. What do you think of that play? Do you blame DJ for the throw, or is it Slayton that you see as the issue with that ball not being caught?
Yeah, obviously a lot to address from what you said. I mean, as far as a clown, a clown of an organization, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if a Thursday night football game or a couple of bad.
It's not just this game. It's I'm
just saying a couple of bad years versus the documentary just came out about what 35 years ago about the last World Series in Queens. Everything else since then has been ran tumultuous at best. But going back to the Giants and that game, as far as the big play that everyone's talking about, that's a play that's got to be had. I mean, we're looking at it. First of all, you're wide open in the NFL. Breakaway to the end zone, the ball hits you in the hands. This idea that it was, listen, I'll say slight overthrow, maybe a little bit as to where the ball placement was. But is that on Slayton? Absolutely. There is a reason that they're calling it a drop. I mean, to quote Joe Buck after that play in the booth with Troy Aikman on Fox, of course, last night, Thursday Night Football. He said there are drops and then there are drops, and that was a crucial bad drop. There's no sugarcoating it. That's a ball he's got to have. That's a ball he's made. He caught a dime piece that was a great catch on a 33-yard pass from Jones earlier in that game, wide open, completely broken coverage. And I mean, and that's something. If there's a guy, a defender, step by step on him that time, or even a safety closing, we're looking at that as he put the ball in the right spot. But it's because there was a broken coverage once that ball was in the air and he looked wide open. Everyone's going to, listen, I can't even say everyone because really nobody's saying it's on DJ, but I guess maybe you guys are because you're bringing that up. And
I don't think nobody is.
Well, I mean, maybe 5%, maybe. I mean, maybe 10. But I mean, the headlines are Slayton has a huge drop in the fourth quarter that cost them the game, along with Dexter Lawrence jumping off sides.
You looking at New York Post?
No, I actually been looking everywhere.
All right.
But,
All over the New York Post. Got it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't get the freaking New York Post up in Rochester, but continue.
It's the internet, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Greg,
there's a lot
what do you make of this Slayton drop?
Before I even talk about Slayton, I need to talk about the telecast and how they were waxing poetic on Daniel Jones' sack, because it was disgusting. He played well, but the way they were talking was if he was some all-pro, and they need to stop. And specifically what you mentioned about that quote of Joe Buck. All right, if a guy is that wide open, if he's running full speed and has to stretch his arms out to the point where he still can barely catch the ball, if it hits his fingertips, I saw the close-up. It was not his hands. He didn't have two hands on the ball. It was fingertips. That is a problem as a quarterback. That's not a drop. That is an overthrow. When we go back to the Giants last week at Denver, when KJ Hamler, Teddy B, put one in his breadbasket in the end zone, and he literally dropped it from here in his stomach, in his chest, that is a drop.
That's on the same level. Absolutely.
No, it's not. It's the KJ Hamler one. The KJ Hamler one was absolutely worse because, again, it was in his breadbasket. Darius Slayton had to run full speed and stretch out with nobody within 15 to 20 yards of him. As an NFL quarterback, your job is to make his catch as easy as possible. He should not have to work that hard with no one around him. And this is the problem with Daniel Jones. He'll throw a dime like he did to Slayton at the pylon, but then he'll miss a throw like this. And this is the inconsistency is why he can never be a top quarterback. And this is why I had such a
drop or an incompletion. What does it rule?
Statistically, I don't know what they ruled it.
They ruled it a drop. I mean, the only person online, the only person right now, and believe me, I'm sure this is great. The only person right now that is online headlining saying Daniel Jones made that a bad pass, and it was on him, is OJ Simpson. So you guys are in great company already.
I mean, that's irrelevant to the fact because I don't care who says what.
Sure. I don't think it matters what people see it as or categorize it as.
Have you seen some of the horrible takes on ESPN from so-called professionals? Don't give me that argument. Get out of here with that. That's one of the worst arguments you could have possibly made with all the nonsense coming from talking heads in the media.
He dropped the ball in the end zone. I mean,
because why? Because your quarterback couldn't hit him in stride. Your quarterback stinks. It did not hit him in stride. It did not hit him in stride.
Did he play good last night? Yes or no?
No. I'm sorry. No. Wait. He played well. He did play well. But that is a throw. If you're an NFL quarterback, you cannot miss. You think Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, you think these guys, hell, Teddy Bridgewater didn't miss that throw last week. And Teddy Bridgewater is your average run-of-the-mill quarterback. NFL quarterbacks do not miss that throw.
So hold on, Declan. I do want you to speak to that because I do agree with him. When a receiver is wide open, there's not a defender that a quarterback has to throw a receiver open. He's already open. There should be an easy catch. Slayton was full speed, full extension, and if you do look at the still of it, it hits the fingertip. It's not on the palm. It's not like he had it in his hand and it fell. He has one hand that touches the ball. The other one does not because it was out of his reach. And there are wide receivers that make that play. And I think it's a great play when they do it. However, when you're wide open, I think that you shouldn't have to do that much to catch the ball. So I want to ask you, do you believe that is a fact? As a quarterback, when you have a wide open receiver, it should be an easy catch, not I needed to extend and almost leave my feet to catch this ball.
Yeah, it should totally be an easy catch. But the fact of the matter is, if it was that much of a hard catch, and if that was that difficult of a catch, they wouldn't have ruled it as a drop. I mean, if it was off his, if it's
NFL got something wrong. Shocker! Didn't they
Well,
get it
not getting
wrong
it
in
wrong,
the?
it's just
Didn't they
pick.
get it wrong in the game? What is that? The third down, the third down spot when McKissick got the first down and they marked him wrong when they went to the booth. They got that wrong. So it's not. This is not the first time the NFL would get something wrong. Right. So let's not harp on the fact that it was ruled a drop as opposed to an incompletion.
Listen, Justin said it hits both hands, you catch it. I agree.
That's cool. Justin's also not a receiver, so I don't care what Justin has to say.
And no, it's fine. It's cool. No, it's cool. Let me just say this: I miss the back and forths. The fire is back, and it's like we never even gone. What I will say though, as far as the hits both hands, when you look at the replay, the contact that's made right away isn't to both hands; it's to his right hand. He's like, that was the one he was more extended than the left. He was trying to get to it. He has the right hand. It touches the fingertips. I just think, to just for the point of argument's sake, if you are wide open, why the hell do you have to do the most in your catch to catch the ball? We can't admit that DJ did not put a good ball. Didn't throw him a good ball. And to say that it's all on Slayton is not true. It just isn't. Yes, he could have there's a chance he could have caught that ball. And as a Giant fan,
there was can we pull up the catch probability on that? I would like to see that stat if they have it.
Yeah, if they have it, I mean, we can look for it.
I'm sure they will, because it's one of the biggest drops of the week so far. I guess the year now that there's two.
Just started and it's the first game of the week, but I think that I don't think that the blame falls solely at Slayton's feet, and I think a lot of people are ready to do that. Buck was ready.
You're right. It doesn't. The blame belongs in his hands. Really, it is what
that's
it is.
Bogus.
So, it's not bogus.
You can't even admit that Daniel Jones couldn't have put a better ball.
I said, whoa, that's not what I said. Did I say it was a perfect pass? No. Better ball.
But you're not even taking the onus. You're saying that all the onus is on on Slayton's hands when that is not accurate. That's what you just said.
75% of that is on Darius Slayton.
Again, you can't even say, you're so biased towards Daniel Jones, who stinks, by the way, and only plays good against the Redskins. I'm sorry. Wow. Don't cancel me, guys. I meant the football team.
Yeah, the football team.
Who only plays good against the football team, that he missed there was nobody within 20 yards of him. He should have waited for that ball and walked into the end zone. And you guys wouldn't be 0-2 and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
We wouldn't be having this.
I mean, he was open for a while on that route. I do want to say that Justin in the comments said that it was 80% Slayton's fault and 20% on DJ's fault. And I think it's more like a 70% DJ's fault and 30% Slayton, to be honest with you. I just think as a wide receiver, I did my job. I got open, right?
No, you didn't do your job. You dropped the ball. And
I just think that the pass wasn't good.
Then you can say the quarterback didn't do his job by putting the ball where he needed to be.
Yeah. Throwing a good ball, because you admit that it wasn't a good ball. I think that there's a chance he could have caught it. That's why I'm not saying it's all DJ's fault, but it wasn't a good ball. That's all. It was not a good ball. We see the replay. You can see the screenshot. You can check out the probability of him catching it.
I'm happy to.
So here's the thing about the catch probability. It doesn't matter. They showed the stat of Heineke throwing a ball to Terry McLaurin against the Chargers that had like a 0.2% catch probability, and he caught it. Because guess what? His quarterback put it in a window where he could catch the ball. That is what matters.
But how is that not a tough catch?
No, I'm not saying it's not a tough catch. But what matters most is the placement of the ball. But the placement of the ball matters. The placement of the ball for a receiver matters. So if that ball is in better placement, guess what? It's an easier catch.
Yeah. I mean, it's less on the ball placement. Like, the ball placement had to be a little bit different. Whereas Slayton, you're an NFL receiver. 85 to 90% of receivers make that catch. I mean,
85 to 90% of quarterbacks make that throw.
Yeah. Well, he made the throw. It hit him.
No, he didn't. This is what I'm talking about.
Look at the stats. If you ignore stats, you watch the game.
You can't even admit it.
Back up. Do you watch?
Did you watch the play in slow motion?
Right.
Then you're blind. You are blind.
They're blind. The ball hit his hands, Greg. For Christ's sake.
No, stop saying that. It hit his fingertips.
Do you think you would have caught that ball?
It hit his fingertips.
Do you think you're catching that ball?
I would have to lay out to catch it because I'm also not as tall as Slayton, so it would have been even worse for me because I'm 5'10".
Right.
I just want to say Manny is keeping the receipts in the chat. He said that Dec, you did admit that it was a slight overthrow.
That's
I
have said the ball placement needed to be better, but that's not where the brunt of the blame belongs. He dropped the pass.
So it wasn't a good pass, and it's the wide receiver's fault because it hit his fingertips.
Well,
that's what you're saying. If a quarterback, hold on, no, listen. If a quarterback throws behind a receiver and it hits his hands and he doesn't catch it, it's still the receiver's fault and not the quarterback for the throw.
Behind him.
But no. What I'm saying,
momentum's going that way.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, though. You're saying that it hit the fingertips. Your whole point in it's being Slayton's fault is that it hit his fingertips. There are balls that are thrown behind receivers that hit their fingertips, hit their hands, and they're not caught.
But
that does not mean because it hit their hands that they had to catch it, though. Using that as a fact, as a point, is moot when you think about the other probabilities of when balls hit a receiver's hands. It was not a good ball. I'm not saying that it's all on DJ. I think a majority of it is on DJ.
You could be in the minority about that.
And we can admit that. We can admit that DJ, an inaccurate quarterback, did not do what he needs to do in a wide open receiver. Because the majority of quarterbacks in this league puts in the breadbasket. He doesn't even have to reach. He's catching it here, right? It's like, boom, drops in his arms, easy touchdown. Because it should have been easy, and it wasn't easy. We could all admit he didn't make it easy.
Right. But you notice, and you guys love to talk about bias. You notice how Daniel Jones had a very good game last night, right? He has his first good game. I mean, he was decent against Denver. First good, really good game.
No, he wasn't.
He was decent. No, okay, another game you forgot to watch, I'm sure. Yeah. But anyway, he was decent against Denver. He was really good against Washington, right? And here we are. We're not talking about a ball he threw to Slayton that was a dime down the sideline. We're not talking about a 46-yard run. We're not talking about anything else that he ran for 90 yards. We're not talking about all that. We're talking about a play that was ruled a drop, and that is how we're spotlighting.
I don't care about what it was ruled.
Well, I do, because that's how it was. At least somebody.
Again, the NFL gets things wrong every weekend. This is nothing new. Nothing.
I think the reason we're talking about it is because you have a losing team, like the Giants lost that game, and it came down to like a wide open play.
That's part of the reason we lost. A drop and an offsides penalty is really just what it was.
I do want to bring up, so just to change gears. I mean, staying on this topic, but moving away from this drop, or rather, I should say, a bad pass.
Yeah,
you have Galladay, right? You have your big offseason acquisition. When we were early on, when we were talking about the trade and the acquisition, you had the Jets getting Corey Davis, and you had the Giants getting Galladay, and you were very staunch on Galladay and what he could bring to this team. And so far, it has not been that. You have been, there's a quote of yours from the chat where you're talking about separation for Galladay. He wasn't getting the separation.
Yeah.
And I just want to know from you, what you've seen so far from 2 games from Galladay, where do you see the issue? And is it something that can be corrected? Do you still think he could be this number 1 wide receiver for the Giants?
Yeah, the Giants.
I mean, and also for the money that they paid him. So
for the Giants, you expect him to catch a wide open ball in the end zone. So, I mean, as far as him being the number 1 receiver that I thought he could be, I'd love for him to be. Right now, I'd like them to target more. I mean, Jason Garrett, I cannot say enough with how terrible his play calling. I mean, the fact that he's a coordinator in the NFL is criminal at best. I mean, he is putrid at his job. It's unbelievable. But going back to Galladay, his separation, I believe he was amongst some of the lowest in the league throughout the first 2 games. Not, a huge breaking point. Obviously, the media is going to, overblow a conversation on the sideline with a guy who just wants the ball, who's talking to his quarterback. Didn't look like Jones was yelling at him back. This idea that it was a shouting match.
I don't think Jones is the type to do that, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was also he was the type to bring him here by going out to dinner and I remember we did.
I'm just talking about the confrontation because Galladay looked pissed. It wasn't like they were having a conversation. Galladay was yelling at him and he was kind of taking it, which is okay. It happens sometimes,
He was yelling at him. There's coaches on the side. Like, we don't know what was said, but obviously the media sees that. It's evident when, if someone doesn't play football, they don't know the conversations that go on in that locker room. It's a terrible thing I don't want to say it's a terrible thing to say, but it's a different kind of point to make. And to sit here and act like, he was going at him on the sideline. Like, they said Galladay was yelling at Gary. I mean, that was the report. So
if you look back at the video, though, you could see Galladay looking like at DJ, like in that direction, and DJ looking back at him. So I mean, it looks more like that.
Offensive meetings, especially when you get to the sideline, you go and you talk to the offensive coordinator and you go over that drive. So I don't want to speculate what was said. I'm not out here making a big deal out of it, because it's really not a big deal. Another big deal, and then that's on this team so far is freaking Kadarius Toney. I mean, Dave Gettleman. This guy knows how to draft, right? It's comical, the guys that we bring in. They trade down. I mean, first of all, if you want a endorsement, a ringing endorsement, Urban Meyer was upset that he couldn't pick him in the first round. Urban Meyer's out here picking guys who you don't even need because it's one of the few. The team with the number one overall pick that went 1-15 had one of their few needs secured in running back in James Robinson. What do? They go and draft the running back. So that, first of all, that's the ringing endorsement for Dave Gettleman's pick of Kadarius Toney. That is really just so perfect after they just got dismantled by a team that everybody wrote off in the Houston Texans. I mean, and that's another thing to knock my Giants. I look and the team's got, obviously they scored, 30 points, 29 points last night. So the game was not on the offense, and it was really on the defense and a couple bad plays. But you look at this league; it's a passing league, it's a scoring league, and that's what makes me think that Daniel Jones is just not the real deal at this point in time. It's his last point in time, seriously. Because you look at these teams, and everyone can score. The defense in this league is nowhere near as good as it used to be, and it's because some of the stuff we saw Brady say this week about offensive mistakes are being penalized for the defense. So we see stuff like that in the league changing, and you look, there is no excuse. I know the team's bad in the trenches. Barkley hasn't been able to get loose. He had a couple nice runs last night. So far, he looks limited on his knee and not as mobile and agile as he usually is. But this is a scoring league. Everyone can score at will, except the Giants and the Jets. And really, I've noticed more so the Giants based on some of the defenses. I know they faced good defenses. They really did good last night to kind of put that, I don't want to say put that to bed, but put that to bed for now, for this week, because you're living on a week basis. If you're at the Quest Diagnostic Center in the Meadowlands, it's the league. You got to score at will. To put up 7 points in a game is problematic. But I will say the defense was bad against Denver. They couldn't get up the field. Third down and tackling was a problem. They brought that same energy. They kind of stalled it a little bit in the first quarter, but they brought that same vanilla energy throughout the whole game. And I really blame the defense and discipline. And even that hold penalty with C.J. Board. I know the announcers, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, said that it was a bad call. A lot of Twitter was saying it was a bad call. But you can't get yourself in that situation when you got a guy who's making a 50-yard run to the end zone.
Greg, I'll give you a chance to speak to some of those points.
Yeah.
Greg,
so he said a lot, and I want to go back a little bit to, in terms of you talked about how well Daniel Jones played, and we're not talking about it. We're talking about that one play in particular, and like Steph said, it's because they lost. Had they won, we would be talking about how well he played, and that's literally just how it works. And the reason we're talking about it is because it was a pivotal point in the game. And two, shout out to Manny in the comments. He's very right. Had Lamar made that throw, you would have blamed Lamar.
No, I would have said it was a drop because I would have watched the tape.
You are notorious for blaming Lamar for his inaccuracy. Notorious for blaming Lamar. I'll let you speak for like 7 minutes, bro.
Yeah. All right, you want to? I mean, I let you speak for 4 weeks.
I let you speak for like 7 minutes,
uninterrupted.
Yeah, hold on. Let's let Greg speak because he did let you speak. Let him get his point off, and then we can have you say what you want to say. You have come at Lamar for his accuracy, even when it's not even like the stats don't even show that he's inaccurate. But you've come at him for missed throws, like immediately. Oh, that's a bad ball. He's got to make that pass. But you cannot do the same for Daniel Jones. Do you not see that? And this is not and I'm actually proud of you. You said you don't think Daniel Jones is that guy. I never thought I'd hear you say that. Yeah.
That was impressive. That was impressive. That is that's part of this evolution of Dec we're seeing. But to skirt or place blame solely or majority on the receiver when the quarterback is the one that's throwing the ball. That's a problem for me. And as far as the Giants go, the Giants aren't a good football team. You said they were going to win the division. I don't know if that was a troll job or what, or you were just saying it to make waves. But at this current juncture, the Washington football team hasn't played well in 2 games. They have not. If we're being honest, they have not. And a lot of people picked them to win the division. But if their defense can't get to the quarterback, their secondary and isn't good enough to hold down these receivers. So you guys gave away a game to the Washington football team. And at this point, the way your roster is set up, you guys are fighting for last place in the division with the Eagles. That's really what it's come down to. It's gonna be the Cowboys or the football team, or dark horse. If Jalen Hurts keeps playing well, maybe the Eagles make a run, which isn't out of the realm of question.
Sounds like a one-game overreaction against the Falcons, but sure.
I mean, I said
it was the defense. I mean, I get where you're coming from, Greg, but I agree with Dec that going against the Falcons and
going against the Falcons stink. Falcons one of the worst teams in the league. I want to see the Hurts play against the division, but like I said, that's why my original point was the Eagles and the Giants are going to be fighting for last place.
Yeah,
the Giants are not a good football team.
I think it's very interesting that you say that when the Giants went toe-to-toe with Washington last night and offensively did enough to win. I would say that's a fair point.
Bad teams do things to lose games.
Yeah, a 1-point game, and we're saying
bad teams do things to lose games.
Bad teams live in the NFC East where the division will be wide open all year.
Hold on. There is one point to be made also that Heineke was not getting first team reps. And this is a guy that just stepped into the role week one. And now we had
in the regular season.
In the regular season. And so he came in week one, had to replace Fitzpatrick. Now he's starting week two. We've seen him operate this offense with few reps and do well. So I wouldn't necessarily look at Washington and say, okay, they're going to be in last place. Not at all. They have the talent to me and the defense to stay in games. As long as the front seven is solid, I think they'll make noise. To me, they're just a better team than the Giants.
You said you guys went toe to toe with the football team. When the fact that you went toe to toe with a quarterback from ODU who hung 30 in your heads, that's not something to be proud of.
Well, and he also is the same guy that hung 23 on the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs last year. So let's not act like he's a scrub. There's promise.
23 and 30 is not the same thing.
Well, when you're a drive
it's not the same thing.
40-yard line from scoring, it's a touchdown difference. And really, if we think about it, that's the difference. Is a touchdown when it becomes a team with a better defense.
Do you think the Giants are a better team than the Washington football team?
At this point in time, no. But did I think that they did enough to win last night? Yeah, but they're just,
that's very different. That's very different. We're talking about a game as opposed to the construction of a team. Because Greg was making a point that the Giants are fighting for the bottom, like whether they're going to be the last place team in the division or it's going to be the Eagles. I don't think that Washington football team is a part of that conversation because it's between them and the Cowboys really for who's going to lead it.
I don't think they're a part of that conversation.
I mean, do you disagree?
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say. And Justin sums it up perfect, is this division could be won with 8 or 9 games. I think it is really blind to the nature of the division to sit here and say that, the Giants are not going to have a shot. Because listen, they went 6-10 and were 1 game out of a playoff spot. They had to rely on game 256 to get in the playoffs. So to sit here and say
that was a Dakless Cowboy team too.
Right. Well, I mean, also that that Cowboy team was 1-3 with Dak last year. So let's keep that in mind. When we're looking
I retooled though, but like that we saw what Dak could do and what he did in his first week. So I just want to say it's not the same.
I don't have a question mark on Dak. I have a question mark on that defense. I mean, they had 4 turnovers handed to them and they still gave up 31 points. So
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the
giving up 31 to the Super Bowl champs. I mean,
it's a big deal when you get 4
comparison.
turnovers in your hand.
But again, the Super Bowl champs. Again, but giving up 30 to a quarterback from ODU,
a prolific
not
offense.
the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. I agree. But to sit here and say that, I mean, if you find out your team has 4 turnovers, why would you ever even consider the fact that you would lose that game?
Absolutely, because the Jets stink.
Okay,
I get what you're saying. I understand the point you're trying to make.
I understand the point you're trying to make. Say you're a coach, like you want to win the turnover battle. That's one of the most crucial things going into a game on Sunday. To sit here and get 4 turnovers from Brady and that team, and to still give up 4 touchdowns and a field goal in 60 minutes worth of football, it's unacceptable. And it's not even like they fought so hard for the turnovers. One of them was a Hail Mary pick to end the half. The other one was a tipped interception. And then you had a fumble that was essentially thrown in their lap at the goal line. They were about to give up another touchdown right there. That was flipped at the 3-yard line by Chris Godwin, which was really just terrible, fundamental move.
Yes, one point I do want to make is that was a game that Zeke wasn't even a factor in. That's a major skill position play that you will have down the stretch, like not even down the stretch, moving forward. Zeke will be a part of that offense more than he was in week one. And to Justin's point about you could be 1-8 games, I don't really see the scenario where the Giants beat out the Cowboys, honestly, even with as bad as the Cowboys defense is. And from what you're saying is you think the Giants can. It's a toss-up. You're looking at this division as a toss-up the way it was last year.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I have questions about the Giants secondary that's supposed to be revamped, retooled, and better. Bradbury got absolutely cooked last night by Terry McLaurin, who's not necessarily a fast guy, but he is a somewhat
he has good speed.
He has good speed, but he's not. Doesn't have Devontae Smith speed.
No,
he's not a burner. He doesn't have CeeDee Lamb speed.
He also did make the game-saving interception at that point. I mean, that was an incredible play. So, that's the type of guy he is. If he has a bad game, he's going to try to find ways to make up for it. And that was a way to really make up for it at that point.
I agree. But as a whole, if he's not playing well in your secondary, you guys are going to hurt. And that's what you saw last night.
Right. I mean, this is a unit that last year finished top 10. And to even have a chance at the division this year, I think we can all agree that defense has to be the same, if not better. And right now they've gotten shredded by, and I don't want to knock Teddy Bridgewater, Taylor Heineke. I don't want to sit here and call them mediocre and say they're below average. But let's just say we made them look like they were top quarterbacks, and that's not acceptable if you want to even have a chance at this division.
Do you think they have a chance at the division?
You just made a point for Heineke when he was going against Tampa Bay, so clearly you believe in him somewhat. You were just talking him up.
It's not that I believe in him. It's not that I believe in him as much. There's a lot to see. I mean, well, there's nothing to see really. There's a lot that we have to see. But I'm just making comparisons. So this guy has done it against. If you want to say the Giants defense at this point in time is not good, say that's the case, and they haven't been good to start this season at all for the first 2 games. He did it against a bad defense, and he played really well against a Super Bowl level defense. So I'm not saying we've seen enough from him. We have absolutely not seen enough. He could come out next week and give up.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the comment section.
Yeah.
Justin Holtz. I can't remember if Holtzy's a Giants fan or not. I think he is. But he said, he's no matter who wins the division, they're first round out in the playoffs.
I have a question for you, Dec. It's still Giants related. And we haven't talked about him enough. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
He second game in now, and we all know he's coming back from the injury. This was a second overall pick that Giants fans were excited about. Generational player. He was the right pick at that spot. Knowing what we know now in his 4th year in the league, do you still feel that way, that the Giants made the right pick by going running back at 2 when there was a lot of talent to be had and a quarterback out there that they could have had that would change this franchise? Do you still think that Saquon Barkley is the right pick at 2?
Yeah. Not to dance around the question, but to evaluate.
To dance around the question, though?
Yes, that's what someone says when they're going to dance around the question.
Yeah.
No. To evaluate that situation, like just thinking about it. Let's go through a couple of hypotheticals. Obviously, Baker was the only guy off the board at that point.
Yes, only.
Sam Darnold didn't work out with the Jets. The Giants were in a similar situation. It wouldn't have worked out there. So let's just be frank about it. It would not have worked out with Sam Darnold. Josh Allen, obviously, he had a great year last year, and that would have been the guy that they would have said, to make that pick. But I think we could be looking at a different Josh Allen if he's not with Sean McDermott and that coaching staff in Buffalo. I think
we could say the same thing about Sam Darnold. We're seeing that this year. Now he's in a different offense.
I don't think that team, like the Panthers, now that he's been doing good so far, and it seems to be
it's one game. I'm just saying we're going to see.
Right. I'm saying I don't think that team would have been the Giants based on the assets that they had around. Pat Shermer was a flop of a coach. Odell was leaving that year, and he was injured the last 4 games. A bunch of mitigating factors. Eli was washed up at that point. The line wasn't good. The defense, like the whole team was really, I mean, it was completely, it was a crap show to put it somewhat PG.
3 years though. We're not talking about just one. It's 3 years
right.
that Daniel
Jones I'm talking about before Jones, that team when Barkley got drafted. He was the best player on the board at that time. Obviously, running backs don't have the longest shelf life. He's already injured. He seems limited, very ginger with the way he's running, not as agile and mobile, like I said, and that could be a problem. The only guy that's out there, I mean, I guess, like looking at it, right? Lamar Jackson would have been, okay, right. So we're saying Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and then Baker Mayfield is the third, are the 2 best quarterbacks in that draft, in the 2018 draft class. I don't know if Lamar would have worked over here, because even still, it's very tough to bring in a quarterback, that especially in that draft class, guys that needed development too at that point. Lamar didn't need as much development. Allen needed 2 years. Sam Darnold, we still haven't seen a crack. Josh Rosen, we've seen get passed around completely just across the whole league. Looking at that, I don't think Lamar would have really succeeded in New York the way he succeeded in Baltimore. It was a great scheme for him. And I think they just didn't have enough for any quarterback really to succeed at that time. So to sit here and say that Saquon was the wrong pick, I think that if you didn't pick Saquon, you're looking at a quarterback that you're probably recycling.
I think if you guys took Lamar, you'd be a playoff team. And here's why.
Maybe now, but I'm just saying.
No, that year.
But even if it's not that year, we're talking about 3 years because it's not that Daniel Jones just got into the league and we're talking about him 1 year in. We have to count every year that Daniel Jones been able to play. Why are you just speaking about the draft year?
We weren't talking about
even.
No. I'm saying, but like, Saquon's the same. Saquon's the same. It's 3 years. We're not just talking about one. Why are we evaluating what the draft year? It's every year he's been on the Giants.
Saying how bad that.
So if we're talking about
guys didn't like Josh, got that 1 year. Donald got 3.
But what I'm saying is Saquon got injured. You took a running back knowing what the risks were with running back. They get abused. Everyone knew that pick was very weird and it was a wild pick. So I'm not saying it's just the draft year. It is the 3 years. We're going to evaluate that because we're in the 4th year of Saquon, DJ, all of these players that were drafted in that class.
People thought it was a wild pick. I mean, he was projected.
Going running back, I think it wasn't wild. It's more so that it was a bad pick for that team, that organization.
For that positional value.
What do you guys think about Zeke going for? And
hold on. Greg, I want you to respond first.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, we'll get into
so the Lamar Jackson point. You guys had more playmakers than the Ravens did. And if you had a coach to implement a similar scheme, as smart as Harbaugh was to do, Lamar Jackson would have succeeded because he doesn't necessarily need a great O-line to get into the end zone.
But that O-line was ranked 30th. And if we talk about coaching,
but my point is,
head coach twice over.
Again, my point is Lamar Jackson is a playmaker, period. He makes plays, whether it's in the pocket or out of the pocket. And you guys had the receivers that were better at the time over the course of the day than the Ravens, and probably still do. They have a better receiver room than the Ravens. But I mean, so to say that you don't think they would have made the playoffs with Lamar as a quarterback, one, it kind of speaks to your Lamar bias, low key.
But my team sucked. That's all it was. The roster was not good. Are you going to try out?
So what I'm telling you is, offensively, the Ravens were not that good either, because wasn't Flacco still under center at that time before Lamar took over? They were not good.
When you
they put Lamar in to give the team a spark. Yes. And that spark led them to the playoffs. What I'm saying is that same spark could have sparked the Giants, and you probably would be in a better position now, franchise-wise, if Lamar was your quarterback, because you has more to work with.
Right, and that's fine. But I agree that Lamar, we would have been in a better spot. But if you're looking at the team thinking that they would make that playoff with the playoffs with that roster so early, I mean, oh my God, this is a team that, listen, the defense wasn't even top 30. The offensive line, same boat. Listen, the Ravens had a good defense that year. They had a good line and a good running scheme and good coaches. The Giants had none of that. To sit here and say that Lamar would have came in and taken them to the playoffs, that team was terrible. I mean, he was horrible.
But again, Steph is not talking about year one. He's talking about 3 years.
And also,
so you said he'd make it rookie year. You said he'd make the playoffs his rookie year.
I said it's possible, but we're also talking about a 3-year window with more talent than the Ravens offense.
The 3-year window? Yes. Hold on.
Shout out to Holtzy. You guys could have drafted Justin Herbert as well.
That's okay. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we're missing one other quarterback.
Right. This is honestly what my thing was.
What's up, Justin? By the way, Holtzy, it's good to see you in the chat. Appreciate
you.
Every year, from what I wanted from the Giants, was I wanted Saquon in 2018 and I wanted Josh Allen in 2019. Not the quarterback Josh Allen, the linebacker Josh Allen, right? That's who I want. Going into 2020, right? Obviously, this is, again, a hypothetical. I know we have fun with those, but going into 2020.
It's an if, Carl. It's an if, Carl, just so you know. Burn the shirt.
It's an if. Completely an if. Had I been the GM, or just looking at this anyway, who I would have wanted in 2020, knowing we needed a quarterback, Eli retires after 2019. That's all well and good. I would have wanted Justin Herbert because Joe Burrow would have been gone, and I trusted Herbert over Tua for pure injury concerns. I thought that they were both high talents. So right now you're looking at Barkley, Herbert, and Josh Allen, and that's a team that would be significantly better than Barkley, Daniel Jones, and Andrew Thomas, who's literally one of the worst tackles in football right now. He's been so horrible.
I do want to say, because I know I said the 3 years as the window, but
I think
ultimately you have
Lamar
to
would
look at
make
it.
the playoffs in 3 years.
No, but you also have to look at it as if you have a quarterback on that team and you take them first overall, you're building your team differently, right? Like you're building your team differently for that quarterback. And it's not just the 3 years, it's also the control they have over him, because Saquon is still under control just in his 4th year. So we're talking about a quarterback that you would have control of, that you would put the pieces around to win, as opposed to a running back. You're not putting pieces around a running back. That's just the bare bones of it. So for you to, I disagree. I mean, it's your opinion, but I disagree that Saquon, knowing what we know now about what he's done, is still the right pick at 1, because he's not a generational running back. C-Mac is that. Like when you think about generational running backs, like C-Mac is that. C-Mac is someone that got hurt, came back after being hurt, and we saw he put up 180 something yards from scrimmage first game. Saquon just is not that. And knowing what we do know now, to look back and say you still would take Saquon to me is just a little odd, because a quarterback, whether it's Sam Darnold, whether it's your boy Josh Allen or Lamar, they would give you a better chance to win and put your organization in a better position than Saquon does now. Well, so
I wanted Herbert.
A little odd.
I wanted Herbert in 2019 when he stayed back at Oregon, and I wanted him that year. When he went off the board, things kind of changed. Or sorry, that was the next year. That was next year.
So I got 2 people to address in the chat. Travis, you can no longer talk to me about football. So just leave now.
Let me see,
because
what did Travis say? Why?
Well, he said he disagrees with me, but Travis is not allowed to talk football with me anymore.
What does he disagree about?
Yeah, he says that the Giants had no O-line, they didn't have an adaptable, and didn't have the Ravens defense.
That's the facts. Did we not learn from Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl? That's an all-world talent that couldn't move the ball downfield.
I'm sorry.
Can I finish?
Just before you finish, to bring up the O-line and then get a running back who needs the O-line to be productive, why would that matter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still, it doesn't help.
He had a really good rookie year with them anyway.
So now, I'm going to get to my, but get back to Travis. This is a guy.
Quentin Nelson would have been a great pick, though.
Travis is a guy that said someone traded away George Kittle and got back Elijah Murray and the rookie running back from BYU for the Ravens that started his first game after being signed off his couch, said the trade wasn't that egregious. Travis, don't talk to me. Go somewhere. All right. You are not allowed to speak. It was awful. It had to be vetoed because it was so poor.
Someone accepted it?
Yes.
Who?
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
You gotta protect anonymity.
Yeah. And get into Carl. Carl said, I cannot prove that the Giants will be successful with Lamar Jackson. And if I can prove it, he'd owe me $100. Carl is going to owe me $100. And here's why.
No way of proving
Marquise Brown was the number 1 receiver for 3 years on the Baltimore Ravens. He is the Giants wide receiver 4 at best in the 3-year window. Say you draft Lamar with no O-line, right? Even with no O-line, Lamar can still make plays.
Dual threat quarterbacks can thrive with no O-line, so they can still win games. We've seen that time and time again.
The reason
Cam not stay healthy.
Wait a minute. No, you're not going to do that because Lamar Jackson has been healthy his whole career.
Russell Wilson's been hurt. He's been banged up.
Deshaun
Watson tore his ACL. Are you kidding me?
Whoa. But what I'm saying is production, right? Like these quarterbacks were productive. It wasn't like, oh, my O-line went down and they've been hurt like Joe Burrow's been hurt one time now, right? So if Joe Burrow with a bad O-line doesn't get hurt again, what are we talking about? He puts up the numbers. All I am saying is that Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, these mobile quarterbacks that when they have bad O-lines can still go out and put up the numbers and win games, especially if you put the right pieces around them. And I don't think the argument is like, oh, there's no way that the Giants could win with Lamar Jackson. No, that's not true. The rushing ability gives them a chance. It changes how the defense
exactly. It forces the defense to account for it. Therefore, and you're looking at I forgot who you had. Golden Tate, who was a great possession receiver.
That's for damn sure.
You know, you still had Sterling Shepard. I forgot who was the guy that speed guy you had.
Golden Tate was not good on the Giants.
But because Daniel Jones wasn't good.
He was 35 years old. He wasn't really good.
My point is Lamar Jackson opens up your offense, and it allows you to play a different style of football that would have been more conducive to a pocket quarterback that has no O-line and a running back that you frankly, for positional value, overdrafted the slot, not the player, the slot.
The slot, yes, I agree with not taking a running back that early. But keep in mind, this is a team that was 3-13 and 5-11. So to sit here and say that they would have went 11-5, and that's really how they would have switched with one guy.
I didn't say they would have went 11-5 the next year. What I said is Lamar Jackson would have put them in a better position to win playoff games. And Travis made a point. Travis still can't talk to me, though. He made a point that Harbaugh is more adaptable, which is fair because Shermer stinks. That's a good point. That is a good point. But Lamar has the ability to skirt bad coaching, the athletic ability. And we see that with Deshaun Watson. He made the playoffs with Bill O'Brien as his coach. Bill O'Brien was one of the worst coaches in all of the NFL.
Wait, guys, also, Deshaun Watson went 5-11 in his last year, and it has nothing to do with him. He played great.
But did he not make the playoffs with Bill O'Brien as his quarterback?
He did,
as his coach. Yeah. So that's my point. That is my point.
About the career, not just 1 year. Don't that window, 1 year.
Since he's been in the league with Bill O'Brien as his coach, Deshaun Watson, despite his coach being so poor, led his team to the playoffs. That's my point.
Well, even still, you want a good example? Deshaun Watson put up MVP numbers in 2019 or 2020, excuse me, and they went 5-11 because that team was bad. If you don't have a team around you, no matter how good a guy is,
but here's my thing though. Here's my thing though. You keep talking about 1 year, but if you saw the kind of talent, you would go and you would get the pieces around them. What I'm saying is if you draft the quarterback that has the talent, why would you not then go get pieces? Look at Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert in his first year, rookie of the year, he did everything he needed to do, right? He didn't have an O-line. He had a horrible coach that did not know how to use him, yet he still thrived.
No running game.
Yeah.
He had no running game.
Without Eckler. So to say that, we have a quarterback, but it won't work. We keep seeing examples of really good quarterbacks with bad coaching, bad O-lines, not having many assets, and still showing you that they are worth investing in and giving your team a chance. Because everybody looks at the Chargers now after retooling just 1 year and being like, they can make some noise. So imagine if it was 3 years, 4 years. You cannot look at the Saquon pick knowing that retooling is something you could do the next year and say that he's still the right pick when you have quarterbacks that can give you a better chance.
When you have I don't think it makes sense. What has Dave Gettleman shown you that
Travis
that he would have played around?
Travis, go somewhere, bro. Like, now you're annoying me. I'm overvaluing Lamar. Go somewhere.
I mean, he's not Mahomes.
No one said he's Mahomes.
No one's Mahomes.
No one's Mahomes.
Mahomes couldn't get
in a category by himself. But you're looking at a guy that has worked with one of the most inept receiver rooms since he's been in the league and lead his team to the playoffs on the strength of his athleticism, mostly.
Winning record with that.
His best receiver is his tight end.
Right. But now you think with bad coaching, bad offensive line, a bad defense, and overall, no talent. His running back would have been Paul Perkins and Orleans Dark.
What I'm telling you is we have seen it happen. Deshaun Watson had a bad O-line and a terrible defense, and they made the playoffs.
They also just put up numbers.
Happen.
That's not going to build you a really winning formula for years to come.
But you can change that. We keep making it seem like just in a year that could all just change. Once you know that
Dave Gettleman is inept. I bet. He's not going to put those guys around him.
Here's my thing. Dave Gettleman has made bad decisions, right? But he has gone out there and tried to put together what he believes is a winning product, right? I do think that, and some have come, some have worked, and some haven't. Most haven't really. But what I'm saying,
and he lets guys go too.
What I'm saying to you is, I think the talent that was available at quarterback, we could all admit was more important to go out and get
for positional value.
Yes,
positional
value.
Josh Allen, Josh Allen was there. But I mean, situations are so different. That's why Dave Downs.
Yeah, systems are different, and you're right. And I agree with that. However, we've seen quarterbacks, like we just brought up a few, that when the system wasn't necessarily there, they still put up the numbers that showed you that they can make it work. The Giants went and retooled. They got a new head coach. Like, they did the things that you do when you see that you might have talent in a quarterback and you want to change the system. I just don't think there's an argument against going out and getting Lamar or Josh Allen. There just isn't.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, also keep in mind, it's not even like they passed on Lamar directly. He was a guy that was projected to go 30th overall. So the whole league really got it wrong in terms of scouting. I mean, that
also
right?
Bill Polian had a lot to do with that too.
Well, he's a clown, and he's also the same guy that complained when the Pats defense was hand checking at the line. So get Bill Polian out of this freaking conversation.
I think we could all agree on that. But for whatever reason, other GMs take his word. And we've seen it more than once.
You know the only guy who had Lamar Jackson going in the top 3? Larry David. How the hell did he sneak his way into this show? One of the greatest comedians of all time. By the way, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Larry David called up, what was it, McCagnon, and said, you got to take Lamar Jackson. Called him up on, this is a true story. Called him up on draft day. Said, you got to take Lamar Jackson with the number 3 pick. And he got laughed at. And then you know what happened to Sam Darnold? He got laughed out of town, along with Mike McCagnon when Adam Gase came in and vultured the situation.
Yeah, the Larry David piece to me is it's a nice fun fact, and I agree with you, Dec, that maybe you're not seeing Lamar go 2 overall necessarily, but it's more so looking at the draft class, seeing where they could have gone and find a quarterback that could have done more for this team than Saquon, who's not going to help Daniel Jones win games, and his Giants team, with the injuries especially, going for running back at 2. So that was my whole point.
He's looked very sus, limited. I haven't liked what I've seen so far. I don't necessarily blame it on him as much as, the guy did get hurt. That line is still, that
he
line
needs time to come back.
That offensive line has been bad since 2016, actually 2013 for that matter. Jerry Reese, Dave Gettleman. I think we can all agree they have not and literally never put together any package right now that would signify improvement in the offensive line whatsoever. They have been in a tumultuous cycle of really just horrible offensive line play. That's why they change it up every 3 weeks. And it's a big media storm before game 2 on a Thursday night football game. They're switching out linemen because they're all terrible for the most part. You draft a guy with the 4th overall pick, you pass on Wirfs and Wills, everyone who you were supposed to take, to get a guy who can't even play tackle 2 years into the league.
And Wills are absolute studs. They've literally anchored the line right now.
Right there, that tells you. And now Georgia should have, Georgia, you would expect that from Andrew Thomas too. But looking at that guy, guys, can Dave Gettleman do something? I don't want to say, you don't want to be, like a rankings warrior or anything like that. But can he do something that doesn't make you question your will to watch football when he drafts? Nobody had Kadarius Toney going in the early 20s, except Urban Meyer, again, as we've kind of detailed nicely on how well that endorsement is. And the Jones pick, no one had him going at 6. They probably could have got him at 17. The only franchise dumb enough to take him maybe would have been Washington, and that shows because they took Haskins right there, and how they've ran quarterbacks for the past 15 years, really. Mm-hmm. It's like Garrett, Gettleman are guys I just want out of town, and I think I have faith Joe Judge can be a good coach. I like the stuff I hear from him, but right now this unit is not winning. So.
Well, that's your team you got making the playoffs. So we're gonna see. We're gonna monitor that because that's locked in. Unless you want to change up, we'll give you an opportunity.
No, I like the one mistake I did make is that I didn't really want to have them making the wild card. For those who don't know, I literally typed it in 102, submitted whatever I had to make. And
felt confident at that time. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, no, I just typed it. Really, that's all it was. Yeah. The only shot the Giants have at the playoffs is winning the division, and that's outside chance, I would say, without a doubt, considering they have the 3rd best odds to win that division. Really, I know. Yes, Jalen Hurts had a nice week against a bad team. I do believe in Jalen Hurts. I just don't believe in the pieces around him for now. I think Hurts will work out in the long run, but I think they're a year away from being a real threat to playing good football.
With that, I do want to thank everyone for sticking around. We did go over about 15 minutes. It was a heated debate. It was fun. Dec, it's been great having you back.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this going to be Monday, Friday with you now, right?
Yeah, Monday, Friday. All
right,
back to full time. Guys, I'm so excited to preview Monday Night Football. As long as the Giants aren't playing, I'm very excited to preview Monday Night Football and really just get into these matchups. And by the way, Eli and Peyton Manning, put them in the booth. They are already better than anybody that they've trotted out on ESPN for Monday Night Football since,
Wait, Romo? I thought Romo does Monday Night Football.
No, CBS. Romo does. He doesn't. Yeah, Romo does CBS.
Okay, my bad.
He said ESPN.
He does the 425.
Oh, okay, that's right. I was confusing the two.
Yeah, Nance and Romo are on the same parallel with Joe Buck and Aikman. I prefer Nance and Romo, but same parallel as in Aikman and Romo. Aikman and Buck are Fox's guys, and Romo and Nance are CBS's guys. CBS usually gets the AFC game of the week at 425, whereas Fox tends to get the NFC games.
But yes, Dec, like I said, I want to thank you. Good to have you back. We're looking forward to having you Monday and Friday again, full time. Everyone at home, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment to all hit list content on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. The handle is Sports Eggshell. Again, that is Sports Eggshell. Coming up, we got the Sunday show, 12 to 1. So you get to get the preview with the boss man. And I mean, Travis is a part of that as well.
Yes, he is.
So
I may have to drop in so Carl could pay me my bread.
You might see a guest appearance by Greg.
Any show that Travis is on when he's breaking down football. Yeah, like I love the way he breaks down the game because it's so authentic.
Because it takes 45 minutes for him to break down 2 games.
Hey, football, guys, football is intricate. Football
is
not simple. Bill Parcells always liked to make it seem like it was rocket science, and sometimes he's not that far off. But
yeah, before we go, Manny would like me to apologize to the Raiders for not picking them on Monday night.
Yes.
So I want to take this time to say, I want to take this time to say Manny and the Raiders can kick rocks. I am not apologizing.
Manny, I'll give you your flowers. Your Raiders win and they got to win. All right. Waller, he didn't have the game you said he would. You were definitely wrong on that.
Targeted 19 times.
Yeah, 19 times. It's not 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, but I mean, he did well.
That was a joke.
Steph, you just trying to get back in Manny good graces after snagging McLaurin off the wire.
Whoa.
Wait. Off the wire? What league is this?
Oh
my God!
It's a friends league. He lives up in Albany. His coworkers are in the league, and someone dropped Terry McLaurin, not even for another like receiver. They just straight up dropped him, and Terry McLaurin's not undroppable.
Did they think maybe they were dropping Curtis Samuel?
No. It was because Terry McLaurin didn't have a good first week, and apparently they don't know football that well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was a nice catch at least.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot tougher than the one Slayton stone-handed in the end zone. But
I can't wait till Justin Herbert lights up the Raiders defense.
Yeah, but Manny, to that point though, Manny, congrats again that win. Nobody saw the Raiders winning. You got your boy Waller's jersey on. You got a W. It might be the only one for the year.
That's
not real talk though, Manny. Y'all went out there and y'all did what y'all had to do.
Yeah.
Y'all the defensive scheme. Max Crosby was a beast.
Man, he was a beast.
He's Carl Nassib getting a strip sack, and that game was really unbelievable.
So shout out to y'all defense. I still don't think Chucky knows what he's doing though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so either. I think that team played really well. And considering I'm an alleged Lamar hater, you didn't hear anything about any strip sacks.
Alleged? There's documented evidence of this. Don't do
that. You know how many people? You know how many? And please,
pull up on a Sunday show. Carl, we're pulling up on a Sunday show. That was blasphemous.
Hold on. We don't need any fake and none of this garbage. All right.
Say a thing. Say a point.
Yes, thank you. As far as the some of the people, Justin Cupp, people that I think that's his name, people that we've seen in the Hitler streets that have hated on Lamar Jackson, I'm not at the top of that list. I'm sorry.
It sounds like you're on the list, so I don't know if it matters at the top or second.
I don't care who's at the top. You're on it.
Yeah. It's I would admit
also been
that
on record saying he's the greatest running quarterback of all time.
But see that right there, that qualifier is not necessary.
But he's in a above average passer. Would you disagree?
Hold on. Whoa. We're wrapping up the show. We're not.
You know what? You're right, Steph. We're gonna save it for the next show.
We'll save it for the next show because there was a point where we had a whole Lamar Jackson, DJ, and like Dak Prescott whole conversation. That's gonna happen. We're in football season now. We can talk about that. We're gonna have time.
We didn't make picks.
All right. It's all right. We're gonna get to that. It's too late. We'll get to it. We'll do it next week, next Friday. We're gonna keep Smoke and Mirrors is gonna be here, people. So don't you worry. We're not going anywhere. Thanks. But with that, we're gonna head out. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Again, your host Stephen Polius alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. It was a lot of fun tonight. Look forward to seeing you on Monday. Enjoy the Sunday show from 12 to 1, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care.